All right, so imaginary numbers, like I stands for square root of -1. It's an imaginary number, right? And then what is I squared, and what is I to the third, and what is I to the fourth? If you know these four, now I'm going to calculate these, what these are, then you can tell what is I to the fifth, what is I to the sixth, what is I to the seventh, what is I to the eighth. You're going to see the pattern here. There's a pattern. And then when you see the pattern, you can tell what is I to the, for example, 25, 26, I to the power of 301. What is I to the power of 67? I to the power of 100. So all these we can tell. We don't need to write it. We just need to write first four and then remember what the first four are. So what is but actually the most important is one is just the I. You need to know I is equal to square of -1. It's not the real number because there's no answer, real answer for square of -1. So that's why they named it imaginary I. But from there, we can calculate the rest. I squared is equal to I times I, right? So that's equal to I times I, which is going to be rad -1 times rad -1, which is equal to -1. So that's -1. I squared is -1. That's what you need to memorize. If you didn't memorize it, you can calculate that. What is I to the third? I to the third is equal to I squared times I, right? Previous terms multiplied together. This one and this one multiplied together. So one of them is -1, the other one is rad -1, or we're going to leave it in terms of I. I'm going to ignore this rad -1 after this point. So that's just -1 times I. This is -1, and that's just I. So -1 times I, this is going to be negative I. So I to the third is -I. So these are final answers here, here. And then I to the fourth is I squared times I squared. That's just -1 times -1. That's equal to +1. So I to the fourth is +1. And if you follow this pattern, you see that I to the fifth is it's going to be I to the fourth times I to the first power. So I to the fifth is I to the fourth times I to the first power. And I fourth is, so any multiples of 4 is 1. So any multiples of 4 is 1. And then that's just going to be I. I to the fifth is I. So I to the sixth is what? Next one is -1. See? It's repeating. This pattern is repeating. I. Then you get I to the 6 is I squared. I to the 7 is I to the third, which is -1. And I to the 8 is same as I to the fourth, which is +1. So how do we get that? So I'll go over this again with more detail. Right? Okay. So I to the sixth, this is what I'm going to do. There's pattern, as I just showed it. These are right, it's written right next to each other. I to the sixth is same as I to the second. I to the seventh is same as I to the third, which is -I. I to the eighth is same as I to the fourth. These are, you find multiples of 4. This is what I'm going to do. Like 5 for this one, 5 divided by 4. What is it? What's the remainder? I'm just going to look at the remainder. If the remainder is 1, so answer is I to the first power, whatever I to the first power is. Next one, I to the 6. This divided by 4, what is remainder? Remainder is 2, right? So that's same as I squared. I squared was what? -1. It's this one. I to the 7th divided by 4, remainder is 3. So that's I to the third. Same as -I. Third one, this one. And then I to the 8th divided by I to the 8th. 8 divided by 4. So this one, 8 divided by 4. What is remainder? Remainder is 0. That's same as I to the fourth, which is +1. This can become basically I to the fourth is same as I to the power of 0. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So that becomes just +1. Now, these 26, I to the power of 26. I to the power of 26, basically 26 divided by 4, remainder is 2. That's same as I to the second power. And I to the second power is I times I, negative rad negative 1 times rad negative 1, which is negative 1. I to the 301. 301 divided by 4. 4 times 7, 28. Remainder is 2. Then 1 goes down. 4 times 5, 20. Remainder is 1. So I to the 301 is same as I to the first power. Which, if you want to write the rad numbers, is rad negative 1. I to the 67. 67 divided by 4 is what? 1 times 4, 4. Remainder is 2. Then 7 goes down. 6 times 4 is 24. 3 remainder. So that's same as I to the third, which was equal to, it's right here, negative I. And I to the 100, 100 divided by 4, remainder is 0. That's just I to the power of 0, which is I to the power of 0, which is positive 1. Right? So